Hello my friends, welcome back. Now for the next step, we're gonna plot the centroids of the clusters. And so I'm gonna paste that line of code again, but there we will have to do some more changes. Because the way we're gonna get the coordinates of those centroids is not thanks to our array of independent variables x, but thanks to a certain attribute of our k-means object, which will give us exactly, well, the coordinates of the centroids. Alright? And the name of this attribute is cluster underscore centers underscore again. Alright, so let's do this. Let's also remove the second coordinate here. That was just to get the customers before belonging to each cluster. And now, as we said, to get the coordinates of the centroids, we're going to use this cluster centers attribute, which we call from our k-means object. So we add a dot here, and then we call our attribute cluster underscore centers underscore again. There we go. Then we add some brackets in which first we're going to enter a colon here to say that we want the 5 cluster centers, meaning the 5 coordinates of our centroids. So we use this range here to get the 5 coordinates of these centroids all in once. But then, because in this scatter function we need to enter separately the x coordinate and the y coordinate, well, we're going to enter first the x coordinates by entering here comma 0, right? So that's basically the x coordinates of the 5 centroids. And then, well, we're going to do the same for the y coordinates of these 5 centroids. So that's why I'm copying this. And then, after a comma, I'm pasting it here, and I'm just replacing 0 by 1. So that this gets us the x coordinates of our 5 cluster centers, and this gets us the y coordinates of our 5 cluster centers. Alright? And then, let's choose a different size this time, because we're going to make them bigger. And so let's choose, for example, a size of 300 here. And then, of course, another color. And one we haven't chosen yet is yellow. And finally, a label, which we're going to call, this time, centroid. And there you go. Now we have plotted everything. So we're going to finish this by putting a nice title and some nice X and Y labels. And then we will visualize the whole thing. So there we go. Let's do it again. Actually, let's do it efficiently, because it's going to be exactly the same as what we did here. This will be faster. So I'm copying this, and right here, I'm going to paste this. Okay, so this was too much. There we go. I just want to put a nice title. So I'm going to call it this time clusters of customers. Great. Then in the x-axis, we can give the label annual income, right? Because that's the x coordinate of our customers. And if you want, we can specify in K dollars. All right. Then for the y label, we can call it spending score, because that's the y coordinate of our customers. And we can specify 1 to 100 if you want. Then we're just going to add this to display the legend. So I'm adding here plt.legend, which is another function of our pyplot module. And there we go, my friends. We are now ready with everything. We can visualize the clusters. Let's have a final check. I'm observing, those little tilt here. That's because, I forgot to remove just one comma. But that's all good. Google Colab will help you with any little syntax mistake that you could make. And now I think it's all good. So if you're ready, let's run this cell and let's visualize our clusters. And there we go. Here are all the 5 clusters of our customers. And we can see very clearly the 5 clusters. The cluster of index 0, which is probably the cluster of customers having an average annual income and an average spending score. Then cluster 1 here, which is the cluster of customers having a high annual income but who don't spend much, right? Because we have a low spending score here. Then cluster 2 is the cluster of customers having a low annual income and who don't spend much either. Then cluster 3 is the cluster of customers having a low annual income but yet spend a lot in the mall. And finally, the cluster 4 here of the customers having a high annual income and who spend a lot. And so that's clearly the 5 clusters identified by the k-means algorithm for this particular data set. And so now, because it wants, of course, to incite their customers to spend more, well, maybe it can make some very nice, irresistible offers to those customers who don't spend much to push them a bit more in the higher spending scores, right? Because they would probably like to get some irresistible offers, if they have a low annual income. And, maybe for these customers belonging to that cluster 1 of those having a high annual income but a low spending score, well, maybe they could send them more ads or even offer them some good deals, I don't know. But what the model was able to do thanks to the K-means algorithm was to identify those 2 important clusters of customers to whom it can do some more marketing to push them in the higher spending scores. That's a different matter. That's a problem of the marketing team or the strategy team. This is not for us, but there we go. We are the data scientists that provided to them this clustering analysis from which they can get some insights to boost their business. So congratulations for completing successfully this case study. I hope you liked it. And mostly, I hope that you're going to join me in level 2, because there we're going to work on some more advanced data sets, doing some more advanced data preprocessing, and mostly we're going to build some much more powerful models, which are actually the most robust ones, meaning that they give you generally the best results in classification and regression. For clustering, you're kind of sorted. K-means will usually give you the best clustering analysis with the best identified patterns. But for regression and clustering, you really need to have those much more powerful models than the ones we built in this level 1, which are XGBoost, LightGBM, and CatBoost. And the good news is that you're going to get them for both regression and classification, so that you will eventually end up with a toolkit of the most powerful models for both regression and classification. So that's why I look forward to seeing you in level 2, and until then, enjoy machine learning.